Back to another live stream. We've got a very important live stream for you today. We're going to be bringing the CPI data live to your attention. This is going to be a very important data print. We had the PPI yesterday come in lower than expected. And obviously, if inflation comes in lower, that incentivizes the Fed to cut rates even more, because the one thing that's preventing them from potentially cutting rates is inflationary fears. And if you have weak inflation, if you have soft inflation, then they can cut away. We can enter a cutting cycle and we can see the money printers turn on because loads of people are going to be taking out loans and risk on assets will skyrocket. Bitcoin's above 114K. We got significantly above that major resistance on Bitcoin, which I was targeting while we rejected numerous times. I said, if we got above this level, you could expect continuation to the upside. And that is exactly what we are doing right now. This 113.5K level has been exceeded and the market continues to pump. Altcoins are going risk on. Bitcoin dominance is on the very edge of a cliff. And the altcoin season index is flashing that we are in an alt season. Let me just refresh it because I haven't refreshed it on this current screen. There you go. You can see we are in an altcoin season now, according to the CoinGlass altcoin season index. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're at the very end. That just means that you probably want to start thinking about easing up your DCAs. You know, the time to be DCAing heavily was down here. Now you want to be sitting back a little bit and letting some of the new capital potentially pump your bags up. And usually in an altcoin season, we enter this blue box for a few months. Now, we've had little mini altcoin seasons, such as in 2024, we had this little mini one. And even in 2022, we had a mini one. But they were short-lived altcoin seasons. They were very mini, tamed alt seasons, minor alt seasons, whatever you want to call them. So were they alt seasons? That's really a big debate. But they entered that blue box. So technically, it was an altcoin season according to this indicator. Now, I called altcoin season all the way up here at 66%. I said that was the top on BTC.D, and I actually got ridiculed for it. There was a bunch of influencers, a bunch of people making fun of my claims that that was the top, telling me that it had to go to the 70s and that I was wrong and that I was going to get wrecked pivoting out of Bitcoin into altcoins. And that's exactly what I did up there. I was selling my Bitcoin and I was putting it in altcoins. And that clearly frustrated some of the Bitcoin maxis. Since then, my portfolio has skyrocketed and I've made the VIP members a ton of money on a plethora of different calls. And I've dropped 2 brand new buy alerts just in the past day. Just in the past 24 hours, I've dropped 2 brand new buy alerts, which I think both could do somewhere between a 10 to 20x this bull run. So VIP is printing right now. Market's going risk on. And we've got a lot to talk about in today's live stream. I'll bring you the CPI read as soon as it comes in. I'll get that reading to you as soon as it drops. We'll discuss it. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's coming in approximately 15 minutes, I believe. 15 minutes. So make sure to stick around. Change the name to Crypto Millionaire Archie. How's it going? Jatin is your name? Jay, welcome to the stream. Cash Jong-un, Cache. Velez, good morning to you. Emmanuel, bullish. How are we feeling today, guys? Let me know in the chat. Type in the chat. Are you bullish? Are you bearish heading into the CPI data? Now, let's just give the counter argument right now. Let's just give the bearish argument, because obviously on this channel, we are balanced. We are logical. We're not delusional bulls like other people who say everything's going to 1000x next week. We're rational and we look at things, in a black and white manner. Bitcoin is rallying into an event. Now, if that event disappoints, we will probably come down a little bit. Maybe we will retest 113K. Maybe we will retest 109K if the data comes in hot. That is your alternative scenario. We are obviously rallying into the event, and quite often when you rally into an event, sometimes you do end up having a sell the news if it doesn't quite income as well as anticipated. But personally, I'm going to make a bold statement here. I think Bitcoin will be at 117K probably in the next 24 hours. I think that will happen. I don't know why necessarily. Well, kind of. It's the charts, and I also believe that CPI will pump us. But we'll have to wait and see. Honestly, it's a data point that you can't necessarily predict. No one knows. So we've just got to be reactionary. We can't necessarily think we know it all and say for definite what's going to happen. Thanks for doing these live streams. You're very welcome. No problem. Yeah, I like doing these live streams on events. I'm going to continue doing it. CPI, PPI, those types of things. So most of you guys are bullish. Paragon is excited for today. Never been more bullish. Cautious but bullish. Interesting. Smash the likes. Yeah, guys, get the likes up. Helps out a ton with the channel. So let's just take a look at the actual data print we're getting. So this will be in approximately 12 minutes. We're going to get the core CPI month over month and core CPI or just CPI year over year. So we're going to get all this data come in, and the forecast is that it comes in at 0.3% month over month. The previous was 0.3% for core CPI month over month. Now, year over year, the forecast is that it comes in at 2.9%. The previous was 2.7%. The most important one we're looking at is going to be the month over month. And if it comes in anything lower than 0.3%, which is forecasted, I expect a rally. And I also expect the probability of a 50 basis point cut in September to drastically increase. So that is my verdict. So if CPI comes in below what I just said, I'm expecting the 50 basis point probability in September to tick up, and I'm expecting markets to go risk on. And most importantly of all, I am expecting Bitcoin dominance to lose its multi-year trend line, its multi-year support trend line. You can see every single time, without fail, we've hit this, we have pumped on Bitcoin dominance. Now, that isn't a good thing if you're holding altcoins. Every single time we've hit it, we've pumped. Now, we are getting extremely close currently to losing this trend line. A loss of this trend line would be devastating for the Bitcoin dominance price action and would likely bring it down, in my opinion, somewhere between 52% and 47%. That has been my bottom target on Bitcoin dominance all cycle. That has been my bottom target, 47 to 52%. All year, that has been my target. And I've stood by it. And I'm going to continue to stand by it, that 52 to 47% Bitcoin dominance will be the floor. And if CPI comes in soft, I think it's going to be a very quick bleed on dominance. So far, this has been quite a slow bleed, and that's why people aren't necessarily feeling like we're in an altcoin season. You know, dominance has crashed, but you don't feel like it's an alt season. That's largely because it's been a slow bleed. Whereas in prior cycles, it was a very quick bleed. Now, look, when you compare this has barely been a dump compared to what happened in 2021. But in 2021, it happened very quick. Not very quick. It happened relatively quick. In 2017, it happened extremely quick. So 2017 was like an extreme crash. It looks like a rug pull essentially on dominance. Whereas 2021 was somewhat quick. It wasn't really quick, but somewhat quick. This time it's been very slow to get down. So a loss of this trend line would, in my opinion, speed things up a bit, and we'll pump a lot quicker. People are arguing in the chat about different influences and who's good and who's bad. Honestly, most of these influences you guys are mentioning are terrible. Let's be real. They haven't got a clue. You know, not to boast, but out of all the influencers you're mentioning in the chat, none of them come close to me in any domain. None of them are more knowledgeable on the macro. None of them are more knowledgeable on technical analysis. None of them are more knowledgeable on fundamental analysis. The ones you've mentioned are very poor. But there are some good YouTubers out there who know what they're talking about. But the ones you mentioned in the chat are absolutely diabolical. I mean, I wouldn't listen to them for a second. Rugs left, right, and center with those guys. We don't feel an altcoin season yet, because usually people feel the altcoin season close to the end. That is the reality. You don't feel the altcoin season until it's in its euphoric stage, which we're not quite at yet, as per the fear and greed, which is currently sat at neutral. You feel the alt season once we get into the greed, which we are not at yet. But by the time it gets into the greed, that's when you start packing your bags and selling. You should not be buying in greed, okay? If I can give you one piece of not financial advice, it would be do not buy crypto when the fear and greed is in extreme greed. Do not do it. Only enter trades and only sell. That's really what you should be doing. Selling and maybe entering some short-term trades. Do not buy long-term spot bags when we are in the extreme greed part of the fear and greed index. So 284 people watching the stream live. Make sure you're smashing up the likes, getting your questions and comments in. We're going to be bringing you CPI in approximately 5 minutes and 41 seconds. We'll be bringing you the latest CPI reading, which is going to rock the markets, because we just had PPI come in yesterday, and that is responsible for the recent breakout we just witnessed on the Bitcoin chart. If CPI comes in equally as soft, the party is on. The party is just beginning. It's going to be an amazing, amazing day for crypto. You can see dominance lost its money flow point of control. You can see it's about to lose this trend line here. Still got a lot of room on the weekly RSI as well for dominance. You can see how low it's gone in prior cycles, down as low as 10 on the RSI. 9 or 10 was currently sat around 35. So the RSI on dominance on the weekly can go significantly lower than where we are currently sat. That is an absolute fact. We're nowhere near bottom territory here yet. When it bottoms cyclically, it goes under this bottom line, goes below 30 when it bottoms cyclically speaking. You know, these little dumps, these were mini alt seasons. These were not cyclical alt seasons. There's been 2 cyclical alt seasons, one in 2017 to the beginning of 2018 and one in 2021. They're cyclical alt seasons. We've had mini alt seasons along the way, like what we had around the election time, but they were not official altcoin seasons, right? Mini ones. And let's hope this is not another mini one, and let's hope that this is an official one. How can you confirm whether it's an official one? It will be confirmed by a loss of this macro trend line. That will confirm fully that this is not just a mini alt season like all these other ones we've had here along the way, but this will be an official unequivocal, undeniable alt season, undisputed alt season. Solana breaking out, guys. I mentioned if Solana breaks around 225, that Solana is a potential long opportunity. We are getting that breakout right now as we speak. Solana is approaching 228. Official breakout for Sol above the golden pocket. I mentioned that on the last live stream if you were tuning in. Solana looking very good here after Avalanche broke out yesterday on the live stream. We brought that live breakout to you on the stream yesterday. Let's just zoom in a little bit here so we can see exactly how close we are. Very, very close indeed. Very, very close indeed. So we're going to get CPI for you in less than 3 minutes now. Less than 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to be getting the updated CPI data. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be extremely, extremely telling as to where we go leading into September 17th's FOMC meeting. Say versus Sui, I'm a big fan of both. Both of them are great. I have both of them as two of my largest positions. Yeah, Mavi has been pumping as well. Archie keeps it real. I appreciate that. Yeah, I always keep it real with you guys. I don't bullshit around. You know, I just tell you what I think. Even if it's maybe a little bit offensive, even if it hurts your feelings a little bit, I'll tell you what I believe. If your portfolio is not great and I think it looks terrible, I will tell you it's terrible. It's no good going to a doctor and them telling you you're fine when you're about to die next week. You know, I know it's a pretty dark example, but it's relevant. If your portfolio is about to rug, it's no help me telling you that it's amazing. Yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good, but we're getting this data in less than a minute now. Gonna bring it to you live straight away. Expecting volatility. Let's pull up Bitcoin on the 5-minute. We can zoom in as we get this data. 30 seconds. How do I join your Discord? You join through the link in the description. It'll take you over to WAP. Click VIP and it will give you the Discord invite right away. And you'll be in the group. It's a great place to be. Guys, less than 10 seconds now. 5 seconds. We're going to get this CPI come in. Pending. Okay, year over year, 2.9. CPI month over month, 0.3. 0.3. So it came in. Oh, CPI month over month, 0.4. Slightly above expectation here. So expecting a dump. And we're getting a dump. So slightly above expectation. We're getting a dump. So I expected, obviously, if it came in hot, we would get some form of a dump. And it did come in slightly hot. Nothing too worrisome. To be quite honest with you, the market will probably overreact a little bit here and then bounce back up. Nothing too worrisome, but it came in slightly hot. So it seems like we're getting a 25 basis point cut from the Fed in September. You can most likely rule out a 50 basis point at this point based off the hot CPI read. If CPI came in soft, then 50 basis points would be, in the debate, let's just say. But yeah, you can more or less write off 50 basis points now based off that. And you can see it's absolutely plummeted in the probability down to 8%. There's now an 8% chance of a 50 basis point cut. That was sat around 20% just 2 minutes ago. Just 2 minutes ago, it sat around 20%. Now it's sat at 8%. So it seems like we're going to get that 25 basis point cut in September. You can see we've overreacted on this dump, come straight down to 113.5, and then we've come straight back up. So I expect a lot of volatility. If you are trading right now, obviously be careful because getting a bit of volatility in the markets. Sol looking good. Yeah, well, in the 5 minute, it's just dumped, but Sol is a potential long, low leverage long if it gets above the golden pocket. And by the way, if you are wanting to long or short any cryptos, there's a current offer available for you guys, linked down below. Use the link in the description. And if you deposit a certain amount of money and you trade with a certain amount of money, you can claim potentially $1,000 in bonuses. So all that information is down below. You need to make sure you use that link. It's the exchange which I personally use. And I currently have a long position open on Bitcoin. Currently have a long position open on Bitcoin, up about 50% on that long. And full disclosure, I have a Pepe long open as well, but I'm down 5% on that. So I'm not too worried. I can just add to the position. Can always add to the position. So Bitcoin's just back to where it was a few hours ago. Let's just zoom in. So what's happening with Ethereum? Ethereum's at 0.939499. Okay, Ethereum's up approximately 1% today, whereas Bitcoin's slightly negative. Dominance ticking up a little bit, is it? Dominance not really doing much, just hovering on support on its last legs. So since we've got CPI, what does this mean, obviously, for the market? So this means that the chances of a 50 basis point cut are significantly less now, though it doesn't change the fact that the Fed will still cut in the September meeting, right? The Fed are still going to cut. Probably we're going to get 25 basis points. There's only a 2% chance of no cut. So the next event that we're looking at as a potential market mover would be September 17th, where the Fed meet and are expected to cut rates by 25 basis points. What does a long mean? A long is a leveraged position to the upside, a leveraged bet to the upside, essentially. So, for example, I am on 10x leverage on a Bitcoin long. So that means if Bitcoin goes up 1%, I make 10%. It basically 10 times is the ROI to the upside and the downside. So if Bitcoin goes down 1%, then I will lose 10%. So it's basically increasing your volatility or your risk. Can SBX hit 100 billion? Very unlikely, my friend, but it's not impossible. But extremely unlikely that it does that this year. Full alt season in November? I think we get it earlier. So 50 basis points is more bullish than 25. For risk on assets, yes. But for inflation, it's not a good thing. It would likely spike inflation. But for risk on assets, a 50 basis point cut would be the most fuel to the fire that you've seen in a long time. You would likely see a big move to the upside. So the market was waiting for this and it got it. And it seems like we had a little bit of an overreaction. We had a quick dump down and seems like we're heading back up again here. So it was just a scam wick. Obviously, we could continue going down. It's possible, right? But we're basically just back to where we were an hour ago. Alt season has started, yes. According to the alt season index, we are in an alt season. Do we expect alt season to end in December? It's hard to know exactly when it will end, but I think it will end sooner than December. I'm a lifetime member. Can I get a discount for the mentor tier for 2 months? Yes, you can. If you're a lifetime member, I can get you a discount. So what I recommend is to use the help chat in the Discord, and I'll get in touch with you in the help chat. Don't reply to DMs. I want to make this clear to a lot of people. There's a lot of impersonators out there pretending to be me who will DM you on Discord, on Telegram, on X, on all these different places, and it is not me. They're trying to get you to sign up to some trading course or something like that. That is not me. That is a scammer. That is a bad guy trying to steal your money. So just be aware of that. But yeah, use the help chat and I'll get in touch with you within the help chat, not elsewhere. And anyone wondering, because some people, sometimes ask, can I join the VIP group through crypto? And the answer is you absolutely can. You can pay through crypto. All the information is in my description and in my Discord. And you can drop me an email if you have any questions about things. But yeah, all the links are down below. So currently speaking, we have an 11% chance of a 50 basis point, 87% chance of a 25 basis point. Sol's a good buy here, man. Like Sol's looking great. Above the golden pocket, it's retesting it as support now. Bitcoin on the 5-minute, giving back some of the losses, coming back up. When do you think microcaps will rip? At the very, very end. Microcraps, I was going to call them. Microcaps will run in the last kind of week to 2 weeks of the alt season, in my opinion. Like they'll run up now, right? Like you're seeing Mavia tick up a bit. It's up 15% today, which is pretty good, but you'll see them do these like 2x's overnight and stuff like that at the very end when we're in the extreme greed part of the fear and greed. We're not at that stage yet. So the micro caps will pump when we're in that extreme greed. Fartcoin prediction. I think Fartcoin could hit potentially a 10x from here, honestly. Fartcoin's pretty undervalued as a meme, in my view. I mean, they are micro craps. they are crap. I mean, most of them. Hence why they have a small market cap. If they were good, they wouldn't have a small market cap, am I right? Best VIP. Appreciate that, Philip. Appreciate it. And many people agree with you. Almost 50 reviews, all 5 stars. We were on the voice chat last night. Into the early hours for me in Dubai. And man, we have very, very good conversations over in the Discord. about the markets, what's going on. Like I'll just show you right now for an example what's going on in the Discord. So we have the voice chat section, sorry, where I was in last night, and I was in the voice chat just before I started the stream talking to the members about the upcoming data that we were going to get. You can see obviously people are posting about the CPI. PPI was much lower than expected. CPI was as expected, or slightly above as expected month over month. Yeah, all numbers need to be below expectations. I agree with that by Mad Greek. For it to have been bullish, we needed a print below the expectation, like what we got for PPI. PPI was significantly below expectation. But yeah, you can see it. We've got a ton of debates going on here, right? Like people discussing things back and forth. It's all friendly discourse. No one's like attacking each other or anything like that. It's all very friendly. But there's a lot of disagreements that go down, especially in the voice chats. We get into some great debates over there about the markets. It's a realistic Mavia target. 15x from here maybe would be realistic. The 10-year is falling, indicating recessionary pressure on economy. Yeah, we already know that, though. We already know there's fears of recession because the jobs market's extremely weak. And there's always been that stagflationary risk. Is there still a poly market on US recession 2025? So yeah, recession odds have spiked a little bit here, but they still remain 10%, which is very low compared to when the tariff scenario was going on. They were sat around 65%. Wow. Then we got the trade deal. Man, do you remember that? Has that just stopped? Remember the whole taco? They used to call Trump taco because he chickens out. It says here, Trump sparks taco trade. Okay. So they just made a poly market on US Civil War in 2025. Insane. You need a credible reporting confirming the US is in civil war. 4% chance. Insane. But yeah, dominance just sat on that trend line still. So no major movement just yet. Maybe it's going to wait until Powell speaks. So remember, Powell will be speaking September 17th. September 17th is when Powell will come out and discuss obviously the rate cut that we're expecting, but also what's going to happen after the rate cut. That's really the big one. That's really the big point of attention for me, is what he says in his speech. Because we expect a cut. If it's 50 basis points, obviously that will be crazy. But the question is he going to cut in October? Is he going to cut in December? Because the current most likely scenario is 3 rate cuts in all 3 Fed meetings. Cut is the most probable scenario for 2025. If he confirms that, market should pump. If, however, he downplays potential future rate cuts, markets will dump. And I heard there was some analyst on the other day, I was listening to him, and he said he expects 3 rate cuts this year and then quarterly rate cuts next year. So every quarter, 1 rate cut next year. So we're essentially going into an official cutting cycle, which is very different to the situation we were in last year when we got rate cuts. Last year was not a cutting cycle. Last year was just bringing it a bit lower because the rates were very high and inflation came down a little bit. That's what it was last time. Now we are cutting into weakness. We're cutting into labor market weakness. So it's a whole different kettle of fish. Now we're going into a potential rate cutting cycle to prevent recessionary fears in the labor market. That is usually when you see a big crash at some point during that, right? Because when the labor market spikes, it's very difficult to reduce it. Once the cat's out the bag, it's over. You know, you've opened a can of worms at that point. Maybe CPI came in a little hot because of back to school shopping. Maybe. I don't necessarily know the reason. Yeah, retail aren't coming back. I kind of agree with that. They'll come back to some degree. Don't get me wrong. They will come back to some substance, but I don't think they'll come back anywhere near 2021 levels because that was a whole different scenario. That was really an anomaly, 2021. We probably won't see a scenario like that for a very long time. You had the government stimulating the economy like crazy. You had the Fed stimulating the economy. They were giving out basically paychecks to people who were sitting at home in lockdown. That was a very unique set of circumstances, which probably will not happen again for a very long period of time. So we can't be looking at 2021 as the blueprint for future alt seasons, guys. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that. It's a completely different scenario. We've had two altcoin seasons in crypto. We had 2017, which was the first of its kind. So it was a brand new thing. So obviously there was a honeymoon stage. There was a amount of euphoria because it was brand new. When something's new, quite often you have the biggest pumps. And in 2017, altcoins were a whole new thing. So that's why we overextended in 2017, was because of how fresh and how new it was. So that was a first time. So 2017 in a way is an outlier because it was its first time. 2021 in a way was an outlier because it was COVID money. So 2025 is going to be the first proper altcoin season without any excuse, you know? Without any external factor that really drives it. Like 2017, obviously everything was brand new. You had the ICO bubble, the mania, because it was all a brand new phenomenon. That's not how it is now. So 2017, you can't look at that as an example. You can't look at 2021 as an example. So what I'm saying is 2025 will then potentially be the blueprint for future alt seasons, because I don't personally believe looking at the past ones is really predictive of future ones. Both of them had very different circumstances, which make them unique. This will be the first proper one where it is potentially a little bit tamed compared to people's expectations. Everyone's expecting 1000x's, 100x's, 50x's, just like last bull run, just like 2017. It's probably not going to happen for most people. Will alt pump the same amount as 2024? Yeah, I think so. I think we'll get a similar pump to what we saw in 2024, but a bit better is what I think. So you had Sol go to, what did it go to? I start forgetting some of these all-time highs. So Sol went to just under $300. Sui went to around $5.30. I think they will both exceed their previous highs. So I think it will be better. Even Ondo, right? Ondo went to $2.15. I think it will get above that this time around. Arrow as well. Arrow went to around $2.40. I think it will get above that this time around. So I think it will be better, in fact, than the 2024 rally. but I don't think it will be 10 times better. You know, that's what I'm saying. People are expecting it to be like a $20 arrow and stuff like that. I do not see that being the case. I agree, Andy. The bull run in 2021, it will never happen again. The game is different now. We'll see coins of maybe 3 to 5x's. Yeah, it's a different bull game. And you just got to adapt. It's not a bad thing necessarily. It just means you got to adapt your strategy and not just be blindly repeating the things you did last bull run. I've adapted my strategy in crypto many times. I've pivoted so many times in crypto, my strategy. Sometimes I've been really bullish on memes. Sometimes I've been really bullish on gaming. Sometimes I've been really bullish on blue chips and high caps. Sometimes I've been really bullish on AI. Sometimes I put loads of emphasis on the macro, like I'm doing right now. Other times I put less emphasis on the macro. I pivot my strategy so much in accordance with the way the market is. I adapt always. Because if you don't adapt, you will perish. You'll be left behind. I sold gaming coins. A lot of people were giving me criticism for that, but I sold gaming coins predominantly in 5 to 15x profits. I sold meme coins back in was it November to January of 2024, 2025 when the meme coins pumped. I sold a lot of meme coins. I sold my Moo when it was up 11x. Got a lot of stick for that. So I'm constantly pivoting in accordance with the way the market's going. And I'm going to continue doing that because it's been a very prudent decision thus far. Yeah, a lot of YouTubers are getting banned for unsolicited paid promotions for meme coins. So that's something to be aware of. On this channel, I don't do unsolicited paid promotions, like undisclosed paid promotions. I've never done a paid promotion on my channel, but if I ever did, not that I'm thinking of doing one anytime soon, but if I ever did do a paid promotion, I would make it clear to you that I'm doing it. I would tell you. I wouldn't hide it. Yeah, I wouldn't brush it under the rug and keep it quiet. I would make it very, very clear that yes, this video is sponsored by whoever. Not some of these paid promotional buy alerts. Like what utter nonsense. You're a crypto YouTuber making money off your memberships. Surely that's enough, right? Surely you don't need to like people are paying for your buy alerts, okay? People are paying for my buy alerts because of how accurate they are. Could you imagine if I said to my group, from now on, these buy alerts are no longer my own personal buy alerts based off the charts, okay? These buy alerts now are only paid promotion buy alerts from teams of cryptos. Could you imagine if I said that? From now on, I'm only going to be doing advertisement buy alerts. Advertisement buy alerts for meme coins that are paying you back pocket deals. Crazy stuff. Seems like right now I'm one of the only legitimate ones left. All the people who used to be bastions of credibility, they've all sold out. All the people who used to champion credibility, transparency, they've all sold out. The guys that I know, anyway. People who I used to associate with a long time ago. Over 100 likes and 300 people watching. Not bad, but we can get better. Yeah, let's get it up to 200. That would be amazing. Do I think Moo will have a comeback? I think it will. I think it will. But I've only got a moon bag in Moo. I've not got a lot of money. Yeah, Eric Wallen, appreciate you bringing that to my attention, man. I already heard about the coin, but you made me research it in more depth, so I do appreciate that, bro. Archie is the best influencer by far. Thank you. Many people have zero ethics in crypto. Imagine being new newbies or get conned by them easy. Yeah, I feel bad for a lot of the new people in crypto who, take some time to suss some of these guys out. Because I get it, right? They're promising you the world. They're promising you 50x's, 100x's. They're telling you these memes are going to go crazy. All you need is $20 and you'll be a millionaire. They're telling you all this nonsense. But if you're new, you might believe that. You might believe that and get sucked in. So I really, really hope that people can be awakened. And that's really my little purpose right now is my little micro purpose is to awaken as many people as I can about some of the realities that go on in the crypto influencer space. Because I would say it's one of the industries where 95% of people have bad intentions. I don't know many industries where that's the case. And look, there's 5% who are really genuine people. I've met some really genuine crypto influencers out there, but I'd say most industries out there, most people are in it for somewhat good. But crypto influencers, it's got to be like 95% of them are in it for malevolent purposes, and only 5% are in it for benevolent purposes. Is it possible with 50K to become a millionaire this bull run, or is that? I would say the odds are stacked against you, my friend. Your best bet if you got 50K is to try and turn it into 250 or 300K, and then short in the bear market, maybe turn it to 500K. Don't use the full amount to short, right? Maybe only use 10% to short. Short in the bear market, maybe you could get it to 500K and then start next bull run fresh with 500K. And then maybe you can turn it into the millions. You should be able to then get it into a few million. You got to realize, right? You don't always make money overnight. Some people, if you got 50K, it might take you 3 or 4 years to get to the million. If you've got 100K, it might take you, 3 or 4 years to get to 5 million. But it will happen if you keep striving, if you keep pushing forward, you keep educating yourself, you keep sharpening your tools, then you'll do it. But you just got to realize it's not always going to happen overnight, and these influencers telling you that will get you wrecked. Like if you got 50K and you can turn it to 250, you've done a good job. Then next bull run we go again, and you will become a millionaire if you do the right thing with a relatively low degree of risk. What's my profit taking strategy on Arrow? Well, most of my profit taking strategy will be derived from the overall market rather than necessarily, all of the specific coins themselves. But there is clear structure that's evident on the Arrow chart. There's two clear range highs and lows. Clear range low, clear range high. If Arrow hits this range high, I plan to start selling. Plan to start selling here on the way up, right? I think it will go higher than the all-time high, but that is like the point where, you start DCing out, because I got into Arrow extremely early. My lowest buy alert was 39 cents. 39 cents is my lowest buy. Yeah, Chris, man. Look, you're joining the VIP because you trust the YouTuber. You trust that they'll give credible buy alerts with a decent track record. Like maybe not every coin will do well, but you'd expect the majority of the coins will do well. And there's no evil intentions. Like they're not getting paid to do all these coins. But what started going on recently is these YouTubers who are giving you buy alerts are being paid to drop the buy alert. So meme coin pays the YouTuber 50K plus 1% of the entire supply, and then they drop the buy alert on you, and they're telling you, oh, I only bought $1,000 of this coin. But in reality, they probably got $100,000 of the coin through back pocket deals. All the evidence is out there as well. All the screenshots, all the evidence, it's all out there, guys. You've gone from degen coin hunter to macro charting and industry analyst. Kudos. And keep up the good work with the best resources. Where are the best resources to start learning and to trade technical analysis? There's a look, I'll give you a channel right now that gives you good technical analysis stuff. But in my course, there is a full technical analysis section which Cryptex produced, who is my personal technical analyst. I've got a very like holistic overall view of everything. You know, I look at everything and I say I'm fairly balanced. I'm decent at TA, I'm decent at research, I'm decent at macro. I'm trying to I wouldn't say I'm a jack of all trades, but I'm trying to be like someone who's good at everything when it comes to crypto. That's my goal, you know. That's where I'd say I'm at right now. Whereas other people are excellent at one thing and decent at other things, right? I wouldn't say I'm like excellent at technical analysis. I'd say I'm good at it, but I wouldn't say I'm like top 1% at TA. I'd say I'm top 1% overall as a crypto investor when you look at everything, but I wouldn't say I'm top 1% as a technical analyst. I would say Cryptex is top 1% as a technical analyst. And he's in my group, and he has done an entire course section, which you gain access to on the bundle, which is linked down below. But I'll show you a free channel right now. You know, because I understand some people don't want to pay for things. So here's a channel. It's called YCIT. No, YC Trade. WYSETRADE. And this channel gives you a lot of the stuff you need to know, right? About chart patterns, stuff like that. This video is top tier. Who's Aaron? Paul. Crypto Goals in the stream. How you doing, my friend? Great to see you. Yeah, it's very easy to recognize which YouTubers do paid videos, as they only read up the website and don't have any belief in a coin. Yeah, they don't have any clue exactly. They're just reading words on a script, basically. Exactly. Like, I actually research my coins. I'm sure you do as well. Like, I know you're a knowledgeable guy in the space for sure. You research your coins. I research my coins. So we don't need to waffle about BS to make up the screen time. But yeah, great to see you in the stream, man. What are my thoughts on USDUC? I'm bullish on it. It did a 4x from my buy alert, so made people a lot of money in my VIP group. I wouldn't roll Sui into H-bar. I just have both of them. There's no need to sell Sui. Just hold both of them. But yeah, it looks like right now the market is just stalling out a little bit, just going a little bit flat. But I think we're going to be ready to see a big move very soon, guys. We got the FOMC September 17th. Things are looking good. We had a little bit of a sell-off based off the CPI, but it seems like it was just a little bit of a shock. It didn't come in too bad, to be quite frank. But very excited to see what's to come, and I'm going to be very active in the Discord group going forward. We're doing voice chats pretty much every day. There'll be more buy alerts to come. I dropped 2 brand new buy alerts just in the last 24 hours. One of them pumped around 50% straight away. Like within the first few hours, it pumped 50%. And that was not from the group buying because it's a higher cap, you know. It's like a 50 million market cap. So, but yeah, dropped 2 buy alerts in the last 24 hours. I think they're going to be very profitable for the members. And I'm going to continue putting out updates. I know Cryptex is going to continue putting out chart alerts. You can see he just put out a couple of alerts there on total 3. I'm not going to show you them fully because obviously it's private information for the group. But yeah, we're constantly working for you guys, helping you out. And yeah, highly recommend signing up. Also, something for free, 0 charge, book a call, link down below, and get your portfolio reviewed by one of my team members for free. And then finally, I wanted to mention the promo that's on for Blowfin, the exchange which I personally use. You can use that link down below and potentially claim $1,000 for free by depositing $7,000, and you could claim $100 for free by depositing $500. There are some terms and conditions, like you need to trade a certain amount on the account. But yeah, I mean, it's literally free money if you know what you're doing. And yeah, I think we're going to get to a stage where it becomes just a trading market. You're not going to want to buy into any more long-term positions because it's too uncertain. And I'll only be putting out trade alerts. And then when it comes to the bear market, everything just goes down only pretty much. You want to be shorting on the way down. You want to be making money on the dumps, profiting from the dumps. And that's how you do it, through Blowfin, through shorting. And I'll be putting out full-on guides and stuff like that in the Discord on how you can do that. Anyway, I appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you have a great rest of your Thursday. Appreciate all of you. Crypto Banter says the bull run will last another 10 months. Yeah. People say a lot of things, right? We need to take it level by level, and we'll be fine. All right, guys. Have a good one, and